Inequalities, presented by Gina Chan, Colin Church, Magdalena Morales, Eric Solis, and Nathan Treveno. Presented by Group 7.
Who is harmed and who benefits by pay inequality? Harms women. According to the U.S. Census Bureau in 2021, women earned 82 cents for every dollar earned by men. People of color, black workers earned around 75 to 80 cents, while Latino workers earned about 70 cents for every dollar earned by white workers. Immigrants without legal status or limited English proficiency are often paid lower than native-born counterparts for similar or same work. And economy, pay inequalities can lead to less consumer spending, which affects overall economic growth by having less disposable income to spend on goods and services. Some of the benefits, the people that benefit: large corporations and business owners. By paying lower wages to workers and minimizing labor costs, companies can maximize their profits for greater margins going to owners and shareholders. White men. White men are amongst the highest paid groups in the U.S. According to the 2021 U.S. Census Bureau, white men earned a median of $60,000, which is higher than women or racial minorities. So I did what are the barriers to achieving equity and social justice? Achieving equity within pay inequality in the U.S. is a complex challenge that requires addressing numerous systemic, cultural, and policy-related barriers such as racial and gender biases, structural discrimination in hiring, pay, and promotion decisions, unequal access to education and training. Schools in lower income areas are severely lack resources to help advance students into higher paying jobs and careers.
Pay inequality has been addressed through a combination of legislation, corporate initiatives, and global movements. I didn't include all of them that I'm going to speak about right now, but the ones that are on the slide. There are a few key laws like the Equal Pay Act and the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, which have sought to eliminate gender-based pay gaps, while many companies are now conducting pay audits and adopting pay transparency to address disparities. And movements like Equal Pay Day and Me Too have also raised public awareness and pushed for policy reforms. Sociologically, conflict theory suggests that pay inequality is a result of power imbalances, with employers exploiting workers to maximize profits. And lastly, feminist theory emphasizes that inequality is rooted in patriarchal structures that undervalue women's work. And to address this, we need to advocate for stronger equal pay, support pay transparency, and continue raising awareness through campaigns.
So I am going to discuss the micro and macro level of pay inequality. Some of this on a micro level causes are difference in education and skills, workplace discrimination, job segregation, a lack of negotiation skills, and an article that I found by Graham is stating how individual biases and performance reviews which can directly impact someone's individual earning. Some of this on a macro level are economic policies favoring the wealthy. Another thing that I found from the Graham article is structural biases, which are ingrained in the policies and practices of the organization, unequal access to the quality education, technology benefiting the high skilled workers, systemic discrimination, and some policies and practices to address this inequality on a macro level are implementing transparent pay scales, conduct bias training, offer mentorship programs, using fair performance reviews, providing negotiation workshops, and on a macro level, we could raise the minimum wage, reform tax policies, ensure universal education access, enforce labor rights, and provide childcare and family support. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Conan Church, and I will be covering social inequalities connected with pay inequality. Something to note is that these social inequalities are interconnected to each other and not just pay inequality. So the first social inequality I will cover is gender inequality. With the average woman making 84% of what men make, with the cause being linked to differences in occupations and industries, this can be one of the big reasons for this is because there are male-dominated industries and female-dominated industries, as discussed in class, with male-dominated industries making more than female-dominated industries, and the female-dominated industries not getting a pay raise until more males join that industry. Moving on, there's racial inequality, with white males being one of the highest earning groups in the U.S., uh, with this being kind of rooted in the U.S.'s uh, racist past with civil rights in the 1960s, kind of making it so that the U.S. is more equal. And another important thing is the model minority idea, centered around the idea of successful Asians, which affects Asians and other minorities, specifically groups like Indians, Filipinos, and Japanese Americans being some of the highest earning Asians, kind of affecting the image of other minorities by making it seem like other minorities are not as successful. Moving on, there's immigrant inequality. Immigrants of European descent tend to be looked upon more favorably in the U.S. due to the U.S. kind of leaning towards white people being looked at as more well-behaved in comparison to immigrants from other countries, as well as how certain uh, undergraduate and graduate degrees, as well as certifications, not being seen as valid depending on where it comes from. Moving on, there's education inequality. Higher education typically means one will have a higher income. Therefore, those that are unable to get higher educations, such as those with low income or those with language barriers like immigrant households, have a hard time of getting that education, which in turn affects the income in the long run. And then finally, there are disabled people versus able-bodied people, with workers with disabilities being less likely to work full-time in nearly every occupation, ultimately leading to a disabled person making 66 cents for every able-bodied person's dollar.
Hello, my name is Gina, and I'm here to talk about our action plan for pay inequality. It's important to get involved and don't stay silent. Or revolving this plan around conflict theory, which is a theory that inequality comes from power struggles in social groups where a dominant group gets more or most of the advantages. It's important that we create policy interventions that can help level the playing field, as well as always raising awareness about pay inequalities and who suffers from it. For fighting conflict theory action plan, it's important that we involve the government. We want them to incentivize employers to bridge the pay gap, vote for local government officials who support equal pay, pass bills and laws that require equal pay for women, men, and all ethnicities. It's important that we have transparency from employers to show payment data, fight back against employers who don't allow you to talk about their pay. So if you have an employer that doesn't want you to talk about their pay to your coworker, you should fight back and speak out to your coworkers about how much you get paid so you can make sure you are being paid fairly. Other ways would be offer more family time leave and practice diverse hiring practices. Again, vote. Let me squeeze that in there one more time. It's also important to remove hiring biases and train managers and supervisors to know that women and men can do the job just as well as one another. It's also important that we start fixing and changing social norms on genders that can help improve pay inequality. We want to create home environments where women and men contribute equally to the households at work and parental involvement. We also want to create equal education access for all communities. Education is important because it can change the way you get paid. It can change your future. We also want to support each other, encourage communication between workers, constant review workers and how hard they work. Pay transparency, vote, and equal education access are the keys.